Three shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade.
President Kennedy is reported to be fighting for his life.
This was President Reagan following a speech. Suddenly, gunfire.
What if we will never be able to prevent presidents from being shot? The world's most influential leaders, and we can save them.
After several hours of emergency surgery, his condition still critical.
But reports conflict. CBS says he is dead.
Say he is dead.
The President of the United States is dead.
Julius Caesar, Mahatma Gandhi, John F. Kennedy. All leaders that have been killed.
And it's happened again, another attempt on the life of a president which will produce more analyses of what's wrong with the American soul.
Shots have been fired at this President Trump rally.
After an apparent second assassination attempt in 2 months on the life of Donald Trump.
A bullet that missed President Ronald Reagan's heart by less than an inch. President Trump takes a bullet to the head. If he hadn't turned his head a second before, he would have been killed.
The Butler, Pennsylvania shooting has been difficult. We failed. The Secret Service failed.
Two moments that nearly changed the world, decades apart, yet strangely familiar. Looking at these accidents, how can scenarios with such a magnitude happen again and again? How can we not be able to prevent the few things that could turn the whole world upside down? This is a story about bullets that missed and warnings that didn't. About the illusion that it's enough to just learn from the past, when in truth, it's not. This is the President's Paradox. March 13th, 1981. At 1:45 p.m., President Ronald Reagan enters the Washington Hilton Hotel to hold a speech. A week before, Reagan visited a theater show and felt a curious sensation. He wondered, could his Secret Service protection really prevent someone from attacking him if the attacker had just enough determination? Probably not, he thought, as he remembered that the theater he was in was the exact same that Abraham Lincoln was shot in. On this day, Reagan didn't wear a bulletproof vest, because his only public exposure would be a 9-meter walk between the hotel and his limousine. Reagan left the hotel at 2:27 p.m. and started walking towards the car.
He was leaving through what we call in the press the presidential entrance.
A man named John Hinckley Jr. had been waiting patiently in the crowd at this time. When Reagan passed, he rapidly fired a .22 caliber revolver 6 times in just under 2 seconds.
Shots.
Miraculously, all shots missed the president. The first 5 rounds hit a press secretary, a police officer, and a Secret Service agent. But the 6th and last bullet got reflected by the armored side of the limousine and hit the president in the left arm, pierced through it, grazed the rib, and entered his lung, causing it to partially collapse before the bullet stopped, less than an inch from his heart. The president was severely injured. He was coughing up blood in the car and had difficulties breathing.
The president was hit, but pushed immediately into the limousine and rushed to the hospital. Acting quickly and with precision, the Secret Service swarmed over the suspected gunman, 22-year-old John Warnock Hinckley Jr. of Evergreen, Colorado.
Immediately, Reagan was rushed to the nearest hospital, where he insisted on walking.
He sort of told me with body language, I'm going to walk in here.
The president walked into the hospital on his own power. He never lost consciousness.
He acted casually and smiled as he entered the hospital. While he entered it unassisted, once inside, Reagan fell to one knee.
As he got to the second set of double doors, he just kind of collapsed onto the floor there.
I remember very well walking into that emergency room, not even knowing that I'd been shot.
As the doctors examined his injuries, Reagan sarcastically complained about the doctors cutting his $1,000 tailor-made suit. Despite being severely injured, he didn't lose his sense of humor, telling his wife, "Honey, I forgot to duck," or commenting in the doctor's room, "Please tell me you're all Republicans."
And apparently joked as he was being wheeled out of surgery that I'd rather be in Philadelphia, W.C. Fields' old joke. He is a tough old man.
Amir missed me.
The assassin justified his attempted murder with his admiration to the actress Jodie Foster, who he wanted to impress. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity and confined in a psychological hospital. After his trial, he wrote that the shooting was the greatest love offering in the history of the world.
Was a letter addressed to Miss Foster in a mail. In it were said to be statements to Miss Foster saying that Hinckley was so unhappy and distraught that he had decided to do something that would get him killed.
In September 2016, he was permitted to permanently leave the hospital. When the president was shot and in the hours that followed, the nation and the whole world held its breath. The vice president was midair on a flight. Confusion reigned, and for a moment, just a moment, the most powerful nation on earth had no clear leader. Reagan survived, barely, and when he walked out of the hospital 12 days later, cracking jokes, it seemed as if the charming, humorous politician had never been away. But behind that smile was a world that nearly changed completely. For a moment, it wasn't about left or right. It was about fragility, about mortality. The world had seen a president bleed before, and now it had happened again. It was a sobering truth we tried to forget. But in 2024, it returned, when a bullet came for Donald Trump. July 13th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. It's a beautiful evening in Butler, Pennsylvania. President Trump is speaking at an open-air campaign rally. 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks had planned this day through meticulously. After 6 minutes of Trump's speech, Crooks fired the first of 8 shots into the rally venue.
Take a look at what happened.
Trump pauses his speech for a moment before being hit in the right ear by the second shot. Blood runs down his face. A split second before, Trump had turned his head to his right, narrowing the profile of his skull toward the direction of the shooter. This slight movement saved him from a direct gunshot wound to his head. As several agents shield him and prepare to escort him off stage, President Trump pumps his fist in the air, repeating the words, "Fight."
What his status is, but you see him put his fist up, and you see him doing a fist pump. It appears like he's saying fight.
The shooter was fatally shot 17 seconds after opening the fire. Tragically, a 50-year-old man died while shielding his wife and 2 daughters from the gunfire, and 2 other audience members got hit and were critically injured.
One member of the crowd was killed while protecting his family, and 2 others were injured.
1 person died inside a security event. 3 other people, including former president, were wounded inside that event. There's just no way you can't use the word failure when shots are fired into what is supposed to be a secured venue.
Just like Reagan, Trump survived. Just like Reagan, the perpetrator was a lone figure with personal obsession and violent intent. Just like before, the margin was inches. But what makes this comparison even more haunting? Crooks had been assessed as acting suspiciously an hour before Trump started his speech. Several bystanders had noticed the suspect carrying a rifle and reported the sightings to law enforcement officers.
We noticed the guy bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground.
What's haunting is not the men themselves. It's the idea that the system, with all the progress and all the surveillance, all our never-agains, was once again completely vulnerable.
And what we do know, this is not the first time something like this has happened. The last time an assailant injured an American president was right here in D.C.
43 years ago.
The United States of America has become a nation second to none in wealth and influence, in greatness and in power.
But these incidents seem to keep happening, and that is a real puzzle and a tragic puzzle.
A dark new turn for a deeply divided nation.
History seems to repeat itself. World War I and II only 21 years apart, the Wall Street crash in 1929, the global financial crisis in 2008. The President of the United States is one of the most important persons in the world. He is responsible for millions of people. And because of that, he is one of the most secured humans on Earth. You would think that it's practically impossible to cause any harm on them. But despite all that, it seems that we are just not able to prevent them from being attacked.
My God, there's been a shot. It's been a shot.
So what exactly is behind this paradox? Humans have been around for 200,000 years. 200,000 years of experience in culture, innovation, and the fundamentals of society. The smartest people in the world studied every major event in history and the reasons that led to them. We've sent people to the moon and cured deadly diseases. How can we not be able to prevent the few things that could turn our whole world into complete chaos? It's not an easy question to answer. Maybe it's the illusion of progress. The world is evolving faster than ever. In one lifetime, we've gone from black and white TVs to live streaming a war in 4K. It took humanity thousands of years to invent the wheel, yet just a few decades to invent self-driving cars. But despite these major developments, in all that time, some things haven't changed. The core drivers of human behavior remain remarkably consistent. Fear, tribalism, power, ego, survival, and identity. For thousands of years, they haven't changed. When we look at what was, we mistake technological progress with emotional progress, and that illusion makes us lower our guard. Although modern inventions seemingly improve life quality, conflicts of many kinds happen within every human mind. And all of our inventions have a potential downside. A printing press spreads knowledge or hate. Social media offers inspiration, but comparison can be the thief of joy. Every building casts a shadow, and the taller the building, the bigger the shadow. New technology creates new systems, but every system has cracks. Cracks that no one knew of before because the system itself is new. The more complex society becomes, the more fragile it is in certain aspects. Just like a balloon that keeps getting bigger and bigger. Growth requires adjusting to changing circumstances and new conditions. Then there is the comfort of forgetting. Human beings are wired to let go of pain. It's a form of self-defense to help us move on from trauma and heal. But it also makes us forget what should be remembered most. Generations that didn't live through war become more susceptible to ideas that resemble the beginnings of it. When tragedy fades into history books, the barriers to repeating it lower.
I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern.
It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again.
Even though we can read about Pearl Harbor, maybe even talk to eyewitnesses, we will never truly understand how it feels surviving times like these and the emotions people went through at that time. There is this saying, we forget not because we don't care, but because memory fades fastest when it's not personal. So what do these events reveal about us, about humanity? What can we take away for the future? They prove that our core values haven't changed in hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. Humans are not robots. We are emotional creatures that don't calculate their decisions based on algorithms and codes. Our decisions are sometimes wrong because they are affected by impulsive reactions and all the individual experiences we have made in life. But it is these errors that make us human. Errare humanum est. Making mistakes is a natural part of being human. History shows us that fragility is part of life. But so is progress. Every time tragedy strikes, it tests not only our security, but our spirit. And each time we found ways to carry on, adapt, and redefine what's possible. Leaders may fall. History may echo.
Ourselves and our children. That's why I'm running for president. Only one man has the proven experience we need.
But societies continue. Perhaps the question isn't whether history repeats, but whether we can grow each time it does.